Decision Plus has been and still is a leading stock market service provider. From training to coaching, we cover it all. Try both our software as well as our coaching site, completely free for 10 days without obligation. No credit card is needed to sign up for the trial. The trial subscription will be automatically canceled for you at the end. DecisionPlus.com, your stock market service center. Real-time coaching has been created. We search and classify critical reports and technical movements. You can visualize or hear the best buying and selling opportunities. Get real-time advice all day long and 3 live coaching shows per day. Let us do the work and save your time for trading. Try MarketGurus.tv free without obligation for 10 days in the menus above. Market Vision Plus is the trading companion of so many investors. Make your fundamental and technical analysis easy with Canada's #1 stock market decision-making software. Research, decide, and follow your positions with Market Vision Plus. See the menus just above this program and try Market Vision Plus for 10 days without any obligation after the show. When it comes to day trading, Trader Plus is the right tool. Track 50 quotes simultaneously. Create dozens of quick lists. Display as many as 30 real-time intraday charts at the same time. Watch the action with candlesticks or bar charts as fast as 10 seconds. See the market by sectors. Use the chart models already prepared for you. Try Trader Plus for 10 days in the menu above without any obligation.
Hello everybody, welcome to the Swing Trading Show. Today we're Friday, September 4th, 2015. The question bar is open, folks. If ever you have any questions, feel free to ask them. Can I ask you to just take off the board here, please? So, folks, today we have markets that remain calm, but remain neutral. If we take a look at the situation here on all indices, we still have a situation where all indices continue to remain within this neutral range. I've also made a chronicle today saying that, well, not today, yesterday, sorry, on the YouTube Chronicle, saying that what is going to happen as long as we stay within this neutral range on the Dow, on the SPY, and also on the TSX for swing trading, it's definitely not a moment to buy any stock. All right, there were a lot of stocks in the resources sector that I've shown in the last Chronicle. Most of them continue to remain within that neutral range. However, there are a lot where remain at risk, especially on the steel, oil and equipment service sector. If we take a look at this, we have a stock like Baker Hughes, Calfrac Well Services, CGS Energy, Halliburton. All those stocks are putting pressure on their support, but so far are unable to start any new bearish cycle. On the Canadian side, we have oil that remains neutral, but we have also a lot of stocks in the energy sector that remains within their neutral formation, but they're resisting a little bit more on the Canadian side. There's some stocks, of course, that are weak, like Enerplus or like Green Sierra Energy, but they're not as they're not declining as much as the stocks on the American side. So therefore, it remains a market situation where if you're eyeing what stocks to buy in the resources sector, I think you still have to put them on your watch list, on your bucket list, because so far we have no timing, no opportunities for swing trading. Even for day trading, it has been tough today. What happened today, we had the employment report on the US, on the Canadian side. On the Canadian side, we had jobs that were created. However, unemployment rate goes up. Why? Because the jobs that were created were not enough to erase the decline or the job loss that we had in the last few quarters. On the US, we had the job report that came out. We're creating some jobs, even if it's lower than estimates, but we're still creating some jobs in the US. And the thing is that we have pressure on the upside on wages. So people are getting paid more on the US. which means that eventually we're going to have inflation. And this is something that means that the Fed will probably raise interest rate on September. And this is why we have on the Japanese index here and even on the Chinese index some weakness there, because fear that the Fed will raise interest rate on the Nikkei exchange, on the Hang Seng exchange, are counterbalancing or overshadowing the possibility that the ECB will continue its quantitative easing program. So with this good data coming out of the employment report in the US, it's possible that the Fed is going to raise interest rate. And I think so far this is why we're seeing some weakness today on the market. Investors are starting to have some fear. In terms of the bearish ETF, well, we didn't have a lot of great performance in the bearish ETF when you have markets that remain neutral, but we definitely need to make a new low to have that confirmation to get into those bearish ETF. Don't forget that Monday, Canadian markets will be closed for the Labor Day holiday, so our offices will be closed. So what I'm going to do in the next segment, I'm going to take some of your questions. In terms of the news, there are no real important news except for this news here. I know some of you would like to follow medical marijuana companies. Twin Marijuana, they will buy a private company, and this will allow them to actually have access to their customers, because usually they produce, but now they'll have some stores. We also have another news on this company, BlackBerry. They decided to acquire Good Technology, so that was a clear false breakout on that news. And this acquisition of Good Technology for $425 million, it will allow BlackBerry to exploit a platform that is compatible with any exploitation system. So it will be compatible for Apple, it will be compatible for Android, and also for BlackBerry. So this is something that is good, but we see that investors, it was totally a short-term optimism. So in the next segment, we're going to be back with a lot of your questions, folks. We have a lot of them, so definitely we're going to take that into account and answer most of their questions today. So welcome back. So we have questions from Pierre here. DLTR, when to buy? You know what why I like your questions, Pierre? Because DLTR, it's a solid company. We know in the US dollar store chains, have been a lot of acquisition there, especially with a lot of weakness that we have seen in the recent weeks in the market. A stock like Dollar Tree Stores, with this important decline, is going to be at a bargain at a certain time. Now, when to buy that stock? We are at a critical point on DLTR. We're testing a bottom here, right? So I think on DLTR, what you need to see, this is the first day of rebound. So you need to see a confirmation that this rebound can last. Here are two things you could take a look at. This is the things I take a look at to determine if a stock is confirming a solid bottom. First, stochastics, 923 stochastics. I'm trying to see if the stochastics, 923 stochastics, can be towards the 30-40% range. That confirms the strength of the bottom. Second thing, the histogram. So if you're starting to see that the histogram is starting to continue to be into positive territory or heading towards positive territory, this is something that's going to be good also for DLTR. So I think you can take a look at those two factors. Now for DLTR, we see that so far in terms of target, we could have a target of 74.43. But I would not get in DLTR today because it's only a first day of a rebound. I'd like to see at least a second day or third day where buyers are reluctant to let the stock go lower than this bottom of 66.59. Because I think getting in on the first day of rebound, there's a risk that if ever we have markets that are making a new low today, there's a risk that your buying signal will not be great and the stock might fall further down. So this is why I'd like to see at least 2-3 days of a stabilization phase. So it's a great stock you mentioned, Pierre, because definitely I think a stock like that, as solid as that, with a great market share on the US, it's definitely a stock that could definitely be a bargain whenever it confirms a clear bottom and whenever markets starts a new bullish cycle. So not yet for that, Pierre, but wait for at least 2-3 days. Stochastics, histogram heading up. That would be the go on a stock like that. Now, Pat, NML, is it dead forever? Well, what I know for NML, I know recently there was a shareholder meeting. So the CEO talked to shareholders saying that I know they have some challenges with their partnership with Tata. But you also have to take into account that iron sector, steel companies are taking a big hit, and New Millennium Iron Ore is victim of that, right? So is it dead forever? Well, it's having a tough time. Look at the steel stocks here. The steel's vector is completely going down, right? So even big caps, for instance, today, I know that ArcelorMittal is in a clear breakdown. So we definitely have, NML cannot escape this. Now, is it dead forever? I think what we need to have is a growth in the Chinese economy. Price of steel, copper are taking a big hit, especially with the slowdown, because China is a resources hungry country. When China is slowing down, it affects companies like that. So for me, if it could go above 11 cents 30, that would be a first entry point on a stock like that. Now for a target of 15 cents. But can we have that when the Chinese economy is slowing down? I doubt it. It's not a buy, but only higher than 11 cents 30 that this will be another story for New Millennium Iron Ore. I would advise you to take a look at the website of the company to see what's the plan of the management of this company, because I know they had a meeting for their shareholders, and take a look at this meeting or assist at the meeting, and I definitely think that you can know more about what this company does and what their plan, especially with their partnership with I think it's Tata that they have a partnership with, if I remember right. You can also take a look at the interview segment. We hosted this company as for an interview. Now Pat wants to buy GNOG. So bearish on gold. Why should you buy GNOG, Pat? If you take a look at gold here, it is true that if ever the Fed raises interest rate, that's going to be a negative for gold. Now, would you buy GNOG? Take a look also at the gold sector, and take a look at the gold sector. We're just testing the bottom of July and August. So this is the point where we might actually have a potential pause or rebound. So why would you buy GNOG when, first of all, gold is still above its support, and when the gold sector is still above its support, right? So for me, it's not a perfect timing to buy GNOG right now. I think, yes, there's a risk that the gold sector might go down, but do not over-anticipate. This is the mistake that a lot of traders do, to over-anticipate. And I think under those conditions now where markets are neutral, where investors are looking to give markets a direction, to anticipate and the direction of the gold sector is too risky. And this is why I think that GNOG is not a buy. Only if the gold sector goes below 118, 117, then that would be a great opportunity to get into GNOG. But for now, it's not a go.
Find answers to your questions by emailing your host at btm@decisionplus.com.
5 good reasons to manage your investments with National Bank Direct Brokerage. Commission fees fixed at $9.95 anytime for all clients and starting at only $6.95 for active investors. No administrative fees if you hold at least $20,000 in your accounts. Registered accounts available in U.S. currency. Powerful tools to help you manage your portfolio. Award-winning customer service and satisfaction levels amongst the highest in the industry. To learn more, visit nbdb.ca or call us now.
Real-time coaching has been created. We search and classify critical reports and technical movements. You can visualize or hear the best buying and selling opportunities. Get real-time advice all day long and 3 live coaching shows per day. Let us do the work and save your time for trading. Try marketgurus.tv free without obligation for 10 days in the menus above.
Okay, welcome back, folks. So we have one question here from Pat Orbit. So Orbit, is it a buy? Pat, if you have followed our show for a lot of times, as I know you have been a consistent viewer, when do we determine is a stock a buy? Is whenever the stock breaks a resistance. Now, Orbit, where is the resistance? A resistance is a point where the stock is testing several times, where stock has been tested, where it's like a top. Right? So it's like a roof over your head. So the stock tests that and the stock goes down. So this is a resistance here at 25 cents. Now, where is the support? The support is a point, it's like a floor. So every time we test it, we go up. So this is a floor at 22 cents. So Orbit is within that range, within that neutral range. So is it a buy when it's within that neutral range, knowing how weak the resources are, knowing how far Orbit is from generating some cash flow from their plant? It's not a buy. Fundamentally speaking, not yet. Technically speaking, not yet. We need to break the 25 cents resistance to confirm if the stock is a buy. As long as it stays neutral path, it's not a buy. So don't forget that the moment to get it into a stock, it's usually when the stock breaks its resistance. Of course, there's still a lot of ways to determine if a stock is an entry point or not. It's not always when it breaks its resistance. There are some other indicators that you could use to determine if a stock is an entry point. But here, when you have a clear set of information as this, you have to respect the theory, which is you get in when the stock breaks its resistance. So it's 25 cents when the stock will be confirmed as a great buying signal. Now, as gold finishes drop, well, as I said, I cannot tell if gold has finished his drop. I know that the thing that's putting some pressure on gold is what the Fed is going to do. The Fed is going to take a decision on September 16 and 17. So from there, we'll know what gold will do. But as I said, I think that if ever the Fed raises interest rate, it's going to be a negative for gold. Now, Anon, what time frame do you use for day trading to decide your entry points? Well, let's take a look at our day trading of the day. Our day trading of the day, it's that bearish ETF here. It's FAS. So now, FAS, what time frame do I use? Usually, when we start in the morning, when we make the 9:15 show on MarketGurus.tv, we usually try to use 2 minutes. 2 minutes, 100 period. So because the show is just starting, the markets is just opened, we're trying to have more data. Now, during the day, what we try to do, we try to put, let's say, a 5 minutes, 100 period on Market Vision. And on this, we're able to actually have a clearer confirmation on the stock. And let's say I want to get in on that stock here at FAS. I got in here at 1322. Now, what I can do, I can say to myself, look, how far could that stock go? What I do then, I can then look at more data, take a look at 30-minute, 250 period to give me some perspective. So I know I got in at 1322. Now, how far could the stock go? By putting a 30-minute, 250 period, I see that there's another resistance that's there on that stock towards 1349. So I know that by putting the 5-minute chart 100 period, that if I get in at 1322, that at 1349 there's a top. So this is for me a trigger that should say that, okay, that's the potential I have in that stock. This is where I'm going to take some profit. So to start, we start with usually when the market's open with a 2 minute, 9:45, 10 o'clock, we put a 5 minute. And when you have an entry point on a stock, to have some perspective to give you when to take a profit or when to get out in a stock, I would advise you to put a 30-minute, 250 period. So you have to play with all those minutes to actually give you some perspective on a stock like that, Anon. I hope I answered your question. Now, Mark, is AES going to bankruptcy? I don't know nothing about this company. I cannot give any opinion, Mark. The stock took a hit, right? I don't know what they do. Going to bankruptcy, well, the stock is still trading at $11. It's not trading at 5 cents, right? The stock has known worse periods before in 2011 and 2012. Right now for that stock, I know that I think you should watch 1050 because 1050 is the low of this downward corridor. That could definitely be a point where AES could stop its decline. So watch to see if the stock could stabilize around this point. If it does and start to go back up, that will be a clear bargain to get into a stock like that. But right now, AES, it's pursuing its decline. It's not a buy. We're not seeing some buyers yet. The downward momentum continues, but I cannot say that if the stock is going to be into a bankruptcy. So folks, see you next week on Tuesday. Monday we're closed because it's a Labor Day holiday. Today it's a boring market. Markets are neutral. There are a lot of stocks on the resources sector that are weak. However, most of them remain within their neutral range. No sectors has really changed cycle, neither in the US, neither on the Canadian side. So it definitely remains a market where those of you eyeing some companies that you'd like to buy, should just put them on your bucket list. For instance, Pierre asked for DLTR, a stock that's worth to put on your bucket list. Pat asked for Orbit, a stock that's worth to put on your bucket list if ever the stock breaks 25 cents. Mark asked for AES. It's a stock that's worth to put on your bucket list if ever it can stabilize towards 1050 and confirm a rebound that's stronger that could propel the stock higher. So this is definitely the strategy that you should do. Even if markets are boring, you should not rest on your laurels and do nothing. You should actually look at the stocks, look at the charts that you like, and see when can the stocks confirm a clear set of information. Right now, we markets that are neutral, that have a lot of volatility within that neutral range. We don't think it's appropriate to open any positions for swing trading, but to rather put some stocks in the bucket list, and whenever we have a clear bullish cycle or bearish cycle, then we'll be actually able to recommend you the stocks to buy and the stocks to short on marketgurus.tv and as well as on the Swing Trading Show. So I wish you all a good long weekend and see you on Tuesday on decisionplus.com.